Good day to all of you. I know we have been from all the different time zones. Thank you for taking your time on a Saturday to participate in this webinar. And we thank Cristina and Vera for making the presentation today. And right now I'm just going to take 5 minutes of your time, just give a brief introduction of CocoTown because we see a lot of new people joining here. So I won't take too much of your time, promise you. Okay, so we'll just want to talk about CocoTown. Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the parent company is called Concepts. We started it in 1992. We started it as a company just trading specialty food processing machines for a small segment in the US, that's the South Indian segment. And then we primarily focus, and then we realized the machines could be used for other gourmet foods over the years, because when people buy, if we don't recognize the name, then we call them and ask them, what are you using it for? Then we started collecting all the data. And then when in 2007, 2008, when the recession hit, we had to pivot because we had so much inventory but no sales. We realized as a business you cannot depend on a small segment of the population. Like they say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So then we were brainstorming to see what should we do next. So we're looking at different industries to see where we can make a positive social impact. So one of the things people, 5 people said they were using our machines to make chocolate as a hobby. So we were so intrigued because the chocolate, is a universal food. There's no age limit or religious restriction or no restriction, right? And everybody enjoys chocolate. So we started talking to them and got the information. And all of them, they said they were taking the existing wet grinder and they had to modify it. They had to be MacGyver. I don't know if people outside the US know. In US, in the 80s, we used to have a show called MacGyver where he takes one product and then he repurposes it to suit his needs. That's what people are doing. So we told them, okay, we will do the engineering part and the changing the part, so you can focus on your art. That's how the CocoTown was born. And from the beginning, we wanted to make sure it's sustainable in 3 areas, which is the environment and customers, business, and agriculture. So the environment, because we wanted to make sure we use only the high quality stainless steel parts as much as possible. So it takes less to produce, and also it's a longer life and it doesn't end in the landfill. And then our customers business, because it's not enough just we grow in the business, our customers also have to grow in the business. And then when our customers grow their business, they support more of the farmers, and then more farmers get more money for their cocoa beans. They don't have to sell in commodity prices. Instead, all our customers and the chocolate makers, they support them, they empower them more. And then this is like a quick picture of the timeline. Like we started in the company in 1992, but we took 2 years to decide which product we wanted to sell. So we started selling in 1994, and then in 2007 we sold the first commercial grinder for the chocolate industry. And then we have the other machines we added later on, and we also have the patents on our machines. Some of the patents we have applied is in the process. And then again, when 2020 came, we had to pivot again because again the worldwide pandemic, at least in recession, it was only to USA and West, and the rest of the world was okay. But this time everybody was hurting. So that's when we decided to bring the Empowering Chocopreneurs webinar. So to teach all the, to help interact, network, and learn from each other. And we are very grateful for all the presenters so far and all the people who participated, because without the participation or without the presenters, we could not have done it. So thank you for your time. And right now, our objective is to make sure we bring more education, equipment, and evaluation tools. And we also trying to create a CocoVersity. It's an online university for all the chocolate related information. And we also were working on developing new lines of machines and accessories. So we just looking forward to return to normal life, even though some travel has started this year because we went to Chakova and we went to Finland this year. But still the airfares are high and still and some people are not comfortable flying. So we hope we can do more, face-to-face interaction soon. And but we will continue the virtual connection. So from one place we can reach, people. Right now I think people from 17 countries signed up for this one. So it's good to know. Thank you for your support. And we always end with loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. That means may all the beings everywhere in the universe be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to that happiness and to that freedom for all. Thank you. Now I will, switch it on to Teresa.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Balu. Welcome, everyone. Oh, well, I'm tasked with doing a little bit of housekeeping. So what I'd like to do is just run through a few things, let you know that this webinar is being recorded. So you don't have to worry about taking notes. You will receive a recording in the days to come so that you can watch it, at your leisure. Also, if you have a question, if you'll put it in the chat as the question comes up, and then at the end, we will have a opportunity to ask the ladies the questions that we have. And then the last thing I'd like to do is just a quick, sort of try to get to know the ladies a little better. We have Vera 𝗀𝗍𝗍, I hope I got that right, and Cristina Castellanos-Stevens from Into Chocolate, and Choco, sorry. I have chocolate on the brain, always. So what I'd like to do is ask, and either of you want to jump in, is when you're not working hard with Into Choco, what else are you doing? What else do you do so we can get to know you a little better? Maybe Cristina, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So just like you, chocolate is in my brain all the time. So when we're not Into Choco and not actually eating chocolate, because we do a lot of tastings, I'm starting with my partner a small chocolate shop in San Sebastián, which is where we live. We live in the border with France in the Basque Country, and we're like 2 or 3 weeks away from opening our little chocolate shop. And that's basically the other thing that we do. We run a few chocolate tastings there. It's a little cafe. So we're having the hard job of testing all the desserts and cookies that we're going to serve there and drinking chocolate and stuff like that. So that's a little bit about what I do.
Great. Do you want to tell us the name?
Yeah, it's called 𝗪𝗚. It's called 𝗪𝗚. It's a play on words. So lur means earth in Basque language, and ca from cacao. So because we were both born in Mexico, the idea is that we use Mexican cacao beans and celebrate both Mexican flavors and Basque flavors. So some of them have like inclusions of a local salt and a smoky chili, or mezcal, or I don't know if you've ever tried gâteau basque, which is a really lovely dessert that's filled with dark cherries and like a very buttery pastry. So we bake that and dry it and incorporate it into the chocolate. So lots of tasty things going into these bars.
Wow, wonderful. Sounds great. Thank you. Yeah. And Vera, you want to answer that question, or?
Yeah, sure. Great. I can give a short answer. It has nothing to do with chocolate, but I do in my other time. I also train elite gymnasts. So they're on a national level and like Olympic hopefuls, and they're like around 10 years old. So that's what I also do.
Wow, wonderful, very exciting. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Vera and Cristina.
Okay, thank you. Officially welcome, and thank you for joining, and thank you, Cocotown, for inviting us. We're actually huge fans of your brand. And you heard from Teresa, my name is Cristina, and I work in the communication side of Into Choco together with Vera. And you'll hear a little bit more from Vera as well, but our team is very small. We have our founder Joost, and we have two chocolate makers who are our advisors, Bjorn Becker and Per Vonk, and our cocoa trader who's Katrine Delay. And Vera is going to give you a short intro of Into Choco. And then what I will do is I'll share 5 lessons that you can apply in your communication and how to incorporate transparency in your messaging. So I will head it over to you, Vera, and just give me a shout when you want me to change the slides.
Yes, thank you, Cristina. So my name is Vera indeed. So Into Choco is actually a tool for craft and bean-to-bar chocolate making businesses in general. It's designed to help you communicate the transparency of the products and empower consumers to make positive choices by buying the best possible chocolate that's out there. So this tool uses the information that makes up your supply chain, and makes it all transparent. With the transparency as a unique selling point, and it combines the stories and the data of people behind each step within your supply chain, and it can bring your whole story of your brand and your chocolate products alive. So it works actually through a QR code. So there is a QR code on the back of the chocolate bar, or products or spread or drinking chocolate or whatever the product actually is. Scanning that QR code leads you to a customized online profile where you can read everything about that bar. So each chocolate bar or this product registered has to belong to brands that can access their supply chain's information. So you can, as a brand, only join if you are ready to be fully transparent and share who you work with and under which conditions. So that means that you have to provide the names and the addresses, and for example, of the traders that you work with, and the cacao producers that actually make grow your cacao. And the whole chain can verify itself to indeed agree, like, okay, I do get these beans from this trader, or I do work with these chocolate makers, which makes the whole chain transparent and efficient, so that you as the consumer can also be sure that you know what you're buying and under which conditions. Yeah, so this guy is asking us also, why are we doing this? Yeah, well, we like to quote, we like quotes, and because they can tell a very good story in a one sentence. This is one of this ones that we found very fitting for today, which is do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, also do better. So we do this because we believe that chocolate should not be built on exploitation of any kind of either adults, children, or the environment. And the only way to differentiate craft chocolate from mass-produced chocolate is to transmit everything that goes on behind that makes it really different. You're on my. Hold on. So we classify mass-produced chocolates that thrive on low-quality beans, exploiting people and degrading land, as an industry that continues to race to the bottom. Everything needs to be cheaper, volumes need to be higher, and people and the environment is exploited in that race to the bottom. And what we want is to shift the focus on the people and the actions that make craft chocolate not only just more delicious, but creates also a positive ripple effect on everybody and everything involved in the whole chain, which includes paying fairly and protecting the environment, contribute, and by doing so, together we can contribute to a race to the top, where quality is valued and the right price is paid for this quality, and the people that are connected in that chain can all thrive on this higher quality and this race to the top. So everyone in the craft chocolate world spends more time and money explaining what bean-to-bar chocolates are, who they work with, and why it's different from big choco, as we call it, and why it's worth it, why it's worth paying that extra price for that chocolate. And many people also want to work more transparency in the craft world. But not everybody has really the means or the time or the idea on how to actually make that work. So that's where we are responding to. We want to create an alliance for those who produce high quality chocolate, but also pay fair prices throughout their chain, and by doing so, protecting the environment and the partners they work with, and together contribute to a race to the top. So I think it's over to you, Cristina.
Okay, thank you, Vera. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about how to incorporate transparency as part of your marketing strategy. So the definition of business transparency is actually the process of being open, honest, and straightforward about various company operations. So transparent companies share information that's related to performance, to revenue, to internal processes, sourcing, prices, values. And you can actually take this mindset and incorporate it into your marketing strategy and communicate this to consumers in a way that it creates trust and engagement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share 5 tips and tricks to communicate your brand and get your message across, and how this can be applied to the transparency of your products, and what makes you and your brand unique, and how this information can empower consumers to make positive choices. So just so you know, we don't think that there's one magical formula that fits all, like you add one sustainability word and you plus a green leaf and then poof, like everything, everyone is going to buy what you do. No. I believe that certain personalities and traits are attracted to each other, just like when you meet people, but this happens with branding too. So think about yourself, think about the brands that you are attracted to, the brands that that you like, perhaps related or unrelated to chocolate, and think about what is it that you like about them. And from these brands, which ones do you feel are trustworthy? And why? What is it that they say? How is it that they communicate that you say, yes, I feel like a sort of connection. You feel like a sort of loyalty, and you're like, I like what these people are doing. And you might even recommend them just because you like them. You trust them, and recommending them just sort of comes natural to you. What we wanted to do is give you actually like useful tips on how to clarify and like easily define who you are and what you do, because you have to start with this. And then I highlight the factors that make you transparent, if this is important to you, and try to get this message across. So we have to start with the basics. I don't know if you've ever wondered how there's like some leaders or some specific messages that inspire you so much more than others. Some you're like, wow, this is amazing. And others you hear and you're like, meh, it's okay. If you are leading a company or a project or a group, you want to make sure that your team members not only understand your vision, but also actively work with you to make it a reality. I'm not sure if you've seen the video on TED Talks about Simon Sinek's theory of the golden circle. If you haven't, I recommend you watch it. It's not super new, but it is so worth your time. And he has a theory called the golden circle. And he talks about a naturally occurring pattern, which is based on biology, on the biology of human decision-making. He explains that we are inspired by some people and some messages over others because of their why. So his golden circle is divided into 3 rings: what, how, and why. So what is what an organization does, your products and your services. How do you do this? And these are the things that make you different from other people. And then why. Why is the most transformational and powerful place to speak from. It's the place of purpose. It's the place of passion. So why and how relates to that limbic portion of the brain where feelings such as trust and loyalty are generated. It's where you make your gut decisions, and your gut decisions to buy things as well. So Simon Sinek says that when we communicate from the what you do, You're not appealing to the part of the brain where the decisions are made. But if you connect effectively with the why and the how, you will be able to make others feel and understand why you're doing what you're doing, and you will tap into that gut feeling. It's like you can tell when people are speaking from passion and from purpose, and this builds trust. If you are fake, people are just going to see right through you. Defining your why is not always easy, but it's crucial because it will come across in everything that you communicate. If you don't believe in what you do, this will come across as well. So a great exercise to actually like tap into your why and define. I'm not saying like your why has to be, it can't just be, oh, we want peace on earth, right? You want to be like, you want to go a little bit deeper. So a great exercise to do this is you write at the top of a page, what is it that you do? And then you ask yourself 5 times why, to try and go deep into the reasons why you're actually doing this, and have this as a mindset or a starting point for whenever you're going to communicate anything, for when you're writing copy, for anything that you do. My second tip is to actually share what you do. If you do something really amazing and you never talk about it, how are we going to know? You're doing yourself a disservice by bottling up what you and your business are about. And choose your channels. There are millions and millions of channels where you can communicate whatever you do. Some of them have very defined audiences, but you also have to be realistic with your time and your budget. Ask yourself, how much time am I willing to invest to create messages and publish them? And I always suggest start small, because it's very easy to get overwhelmed with the amount of diversity and all the different channels. So I can tell you, yes, social media is great, but you are also subject to whatever policy changes they have. So what happens when Facebook has a day where it falls through, or the same with Instagram. So if you only use 1 or 2 of these channels to communicate everything and they go down, then you lose everything. So I would say the most important thing, which I know sounds very easy and also a little bit tiring, but update your website. I know it can be a hassle, but your website is like your window display. It has to be up to date. And when you go in, ideally, you want to feel proud, and you want to feel like you really, when you show it to other people, you want to make sure that it looks and feels the way that you want it to, not just something to sort of have something online. I also know that many people are very resistant to blogging and newsletters, but to this day, emailing is one of the most effective ways to get across. And the best formula that I can give you is to create an opt-in. An opt-in is something like a freebie, something that you give for free on your website that is actually useful for your clients. So for example, also something that you're proud of sharing. So this can be anything from, I don't know, a discount or a present that comes in the form of a PDF or a video or a text, something that solves a need or a question or that is useful and entertaining for your customers. You give this for free on your website in exchange for their emails. It is a lot better to have a smaller audience that is actually captive and interested in what you have to say than you having to think about, how do I appeal to a massive mass of people, right? And when you're writing your website, if you can channel your ideal customer, that's what you want to do. So you want to be realistic with the amount of time that you're going to spend. You want to be wise with the channels. Don't choose 10 if you're not going to commit to 10. Choose 1 or 2. Make sure your website is up to date, and talk to your ideal customer. And be consistent. If you're going to say, expect an email from us every week, do it every week. if that's not realistic and it feels stressful, if that is causing you, oh, I really don't want to do that, start with less, once a month, once every 2 months, but be consistent and be realistic with the time you are willing to invest. Because why are you expecting people to read what you're doing if you're not putting in the time and the effort, right? Okay. Another important tip is to find your voice. I don't know if you've ever sat in front of your websites and thought, oh, I have to change this. And when you finally get down to sitting it at blank, like nothing comes out, or you sit down and you become extremely formal and you become like this very serious executive and like very robotic, and you have super long words and super formal words, and it doesn't sound like you. So I know that writing to communicate what we do can be very intimidating, especially when we think it has to be perfect, or we have a fear that it's not going to look professional enough, or that it's going to sound dumb, and then you get blocked, and then what you write sounds very awkward. So we want to cut the tightness and the stiffness. You want to relax and fight against the big phantom of what a blank page can symbolize. So the best tip that I can give you for this is to write like you talk. For example, things like using longer words like you are, they are, we are. It's easier to have these contracted, you're, there, we're. I'll show you more about this a little bit later. And to make your copy a little more conversational. This is what I mean about the contractions, right? You are, I am, they are, we are, it is. You don't always talk like that because that makes you sound more serious and more robotic. If you do really small changes, you're, I'm, there, we're, it's, it makes it easier and there's more of a flow. And you want to make your copy a little more conversational, right? Let me show you. When I say conversational, I don't mean that you have to be using a lot of slang and you have to sound awkward because you've become this like sleazy like telemarketer. No, you don't want that. But I want to give you an example. This is a very simple example. If you have this phrase, listen to this. Hello, I am so glad that you are here. In a moment, I will tell you my story. Oh, sorry, I didn't read it properly. Hello, I am so glad you're here. We produce craft chocolate. In a moment, I will tell you my story. And listen to the change. Hello, I'm so glad you're here. We make craft chocolate. In a moment, I'll tell you my story. This is very simple. I recommend you sit in front of your computer, go to your website, and all the contractions you can make will instantly make it feel a little more conversational. And another great tip is if what you write in your websites, in your copy, and everything that you say, and you were to read it out loud and it sounds awkward, change it. If you were going to say what you wrote in a conversation with someone and it just doesn't come out natural, change it, right? You don't want to sound like you're reading the Constitution. You want to sound like you are talking to a friend, or that you're very excited to meet a new customer and you easily want to explain what you do, right? I'm going to give you another example of how to make this a little more conversational. Okay, I took an example of a craft chocolate business and took a little bit about their copy, and I didn't change the underlying message of what they were trying to say, but I want to show you the differences, right? So their original message was, we're a proudly independent artisan chocolate brand, single-minded in our mission to tantalize your taste buds with the most deliciously uplifting, fine, fresh chocolate experience in our town. We are inspired by chocolate every day and hope to inspire you too. That sounds very robotic and it sounds very long. So listen to the change. And it's the same message, right? We're an independent artisan chocolate brand. Our mission is to excite your taste buds through a delicious chocolate experience. Chocolate motivates our everyday craft. We hope it inspires you too, right? This second one is just breezy, it's conversational, and it's accomplished by writing just like you would actually write to a good friend. And I'm going to give you another example, different website, different brand. We're also a principled bunch who care about doing the right thing in our sourcing of ingredients, both global and local. Our refusal to compromise the quality of our creations, how we look after our team and customers, and our efforts to do the best we can for the environment. Again, this first version sounds a little robotic, a little stiff. And listen to the change. We're an honest group who care about how and where we source our ingredients from, both locally and globally. We don't compromise in quality. We take great care of our team and customers. We do the best we can for the environment. So you don't have to, I'm not saying don't change the substance of what you have already. Just make it friendlier. Just make it like you would say it to a friend, and make it easily understandable. These are very, very simple tips, and I promise you that it will get you a long way, and you will look at your website in a completely different way. Contractions, read out loud, think about your customer, and also know that the first time that you write a draft of anything, you just have to get it out there. But the first time that you write it, it's not going to be perfect. It might never be perfect, but you have to read it out loud, take a few hours to not look at it the next day, look at it with fresh eyes, and then go over it. And then my final tip, if we were to go round, so circling back to the definition of business transparency, which is the process of being open, honest, and straightforward about different things in your company operations. So communicating transparency means that you can share information on your sources, the farmers you work with, the co-ops you work with. You can show your consumers that you actually know who your chain partners are, what their company structure is, what your company structure is, how your supply chain is, who and how it's made up. Ultimately, this helps you to create trust. And to be honest, in our experience in Into Choco, we've seen that there are many brands that don't really know who their chain partners are that well. And that's okay. But it's a great opportunity for you to reach out to get to know them. It's a great opportunity for you to make a stronger bond with who they are, get to know them, so that you can actually both actively promote each other. This leads me to the next point, which is do your research. Do your research and be honest about your findings, and you can share your opinion. I think we've also seen in our experience in Into Choco that people usually state facts without having the information to back up their claims. So it's okay to say, I actually don't know this, but you can bring us and your customers along through your research, right? Tell us what you're finding out, and you can give us your opinion and say, this is my opinion. So it doesn't mean that you have to have the ultimate truth. You can make it clear that it's an opinion, and you can make it clear that you are actively doing your research if this is something that you're interested in investing your time, and if this is something that is part of your values and it's something that you want to share. But it's honestly best not to talk about things that you don't fully understand or don't have the whole context as hard facts. So if you have doubts of what's going on, it's okay to say that. You can say, I'm actively researching my supply chain, or you don't mention it until you have a more complete story. It's okay to find out more. And if you bring us along in your research, this will ultimately create more trust. And I will say this again. If you don't know and you sound fake, people will see right through you. Think about yourself when you are choosing who you are going to buy from. There's always brands that you're more drawn to. And I would say this is a great exercise for you to do, to look at the brands that you like and say, why? Why is it that I trust them? And why is it that I don't trust them? How are they communicating what they do? And what are they doing to back up their claims so that I say, okay, yes, I believe that. Show the real you. I say that treating others like you'd like to be treated applies to business too. It's not just your friends. We're ultimately all social animals, right? We connect with people. We want to see the faces and we want to see the stories behind what we purchase. I understand that sometimes it's a little bit intimidating. And I know this, like with my partner being a chocolate maker, he's like, I just want to make chocolate. I don't want to be the face. I'm like, okay, you don't have to be the face all the time, but you have to show people what you're doing, what the process is, who your partners are, to be able to build trust, right? Think about how much your expectation has grown in demand for transparency in the brands that you consume. How much has your choice of specific brands changed when, you've realized this isn't as transparent as I thought, or yes, they've added something that you say, yes, I am actually proud to keep buying from this person. We've seen that consumers mostly decide on emotion, the brand's look and feel, quality, and price. So transmitting the quality of your products is a great opportunity and it's key, but you can't just say, I make the best chocolate in the world, or I make the best this. Show me why you believe it's the best product. Show me what ingredients you use, simple things. Is your packaging recyclable? What kind of transport do you use? Show me the little details that you have gone, like you have actively gone out of your way to incorporate into your business, right? I remember when in Chocoa, when I met Mrs. Baloo, she told us about the beginning of her brand. And she said that she interviewed every single person that bought her first machines and asked the first chocolate makers who were using her machines, what's working, what's not working, what do you need? You want to have this active communication. You want to back up the claims. If you've gone out of your way to incorporate recyclable packaging, tell us about it. All of these things add to your brand. And there's a massive opportunity for craft chocolate businesses to differentiate themselves in sustainable topics. But it requires, I would say, genuine interest on your behalf to be able to share this, especially because it has to be credible. You can't just, add the green leaf that I was saying. The beauty of craft chocolate is that it's a lot easier for us to access people along your supply chain. You can literally pick up your phone, talk to your traders, to your cocoa producers. Your cocoa producers can call your chocolate makers. You can call your machine makers. You can call everybody and you have all of their information. Use this because bigger brands don't have this. You have access to the real people. You are the real people. So you want to share the story of yourself and everyone in your team. Every claim that you make that says that you are transparent, that says that you are sustainable, that says that you're green, it has to be backed up. You have to show me why. You want to bring your customers along your exploratory journey. Okay, my packaging isn't as eco-friendly as I wanted it. I can be honest about it, but I'm on my way to changing it. And I'm trying to compensate doing these other things. Show me the things that you are doing. If transparency is something that you want to communicate, if it's something that is part of your values, if it's something that's important to you, then you have to find your way to dig in, invest the time, educate yourself first, and educate your consumers and bring them along this journey. If your interest is genuine, then this will come through. If your passion for chocolate is genuine, then this will come through. But you can't just use the copy paste of other people's websites and use best chocolate, best everything. No, tell me why you're different and tell me why you're special. And the curiosity that you have will trigger curiosity in your customers as well, and will ultimately create more engagement. Trust is the new marketing. Like I was telling you before, people are going to see right through you. And Vera was telling you before, we love quotes and we love gifts. That's part of our personality when we communicate. This is why you see it scattered around. Like if you were to join one of our meetings on Monday, we always communicate with gifts. It's part of who we are. So try and find the voice of who you are, back up your claims. And I just want to read you this quote, which for me was very like on point. Successful businesses design products that transform customers' lives for the better, provide employees with a healthy and enriching workplace, and preserve the environment for future generations. I truly believe that this is very, very telling. This is a quote from Alex Edmonds, who's a professor in finance in the London Business School. And I also wanted to say that we are now in the era of businesses that are doing good and are also gaining profit, right? So it's for profit, for business. It's no longer the era of I'm hiding everything. Someone's found out, now I have to come clean. You can actually be honest from the beginning and say, I'm on this journey. I don't know everything and I don't claim to know everything, but you are welcome to come along in this journey. And I will help you discover with me, what is it that makes my product special? I've gone out of my way to buy these machines because, and you back up your claim. I've gone out of my way to source my cocoa beans from this person and this cocoa producing country and this specific plantation because this is what I value. Everything has to be backed up. The quest for doing good and for profit are finally aligning. This is the time that we are living in. It's the equilibrium of green, but green is here. I don't know if that makes sense. Or I would say it's like we're surfing the for profit and for purpose wave. And this is the end of my tips. I hope that you've enjoyed them. I hope they're useful. If anyone wants to contact us or explore the website or anything, you can always shoot me and Vera a message.